Whew. Oh, that's good. Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm just kind of stuck outside today. I forgot my key, so I'm locked out of the house. And I figured, if I'm gonna be stuck outside anyway, this the beautiful Gwanghwamun, the plaza out here with Isunshin and all this great stuff seems like a nice place at least to set up for a live stream until I can get back inside. Uh, how's everyone doing? Oh, that's some nice hot tea on a cold day. Ooh. See who's here. Cosma, hello. Keith, welcome. Cat Memes, Raven, Alexandra. Sorry, I'm reading your names wrong. Natalie, and let's see. I wouldn't mind some snow in the San Fernando Valley. We've not had snow since the 90s. Yeah, I mean, it'll sometimes snow, right? Where you can like see it in the air, but as far as like getting snow where like you can constantly see it and it's like snowy atmosphere, yeah, that just doesn't happen. Welcome, welcome. We don't have a regular class scheduled today, but I figured, tis the season to do whatever I want. So we're doing a live stream anyway, and I figured that instead of doing a regular class, since we don't have one scheduled, I figured, you know what? Let's just take some questions from the chat, talk about whatever you want to know about Korean or Korea. It can be related to traveling. You could ask language questions. I don't know. Just let's hang out a bit. Christmas is coming up if you celebrate that. If not, you've got Hanukkah. That's cool too. You got Kwanzaa, I think. Different than Hanukkah. I know they also do like the thing with the candles. And if you don't celebrate any of them, well, you've still got New Year's coming up next week, right? And if you really don't celebrate New Year's, because I don't know, well then it's just you just get a bonus live stream for no reason. So isn't that great? Everyone should be happy. Maybe some bungeoppang as well to stay warm. There's got to be one nearby. There will be several nearby. Yes. Although bungeoppang is less common nowadays than it used to be because they started requiring many years ago all of those like street side vendors to have licenses. Normally it was just kind of like they looked the other way, but they started cracking down on it so that you actually have to have an approval to sell there. And that got rid of like a lot of them because, they don't have the money to pay for a license and they don't want to have to take care of the inspections regularly and stuff. So, I mean, as a result, I think the quality went up, which is good, but you also lost a lot. So yeah, but there still are plenty of bungeoppang or ingoppang. Those are the two. Bungeoppang and ingoppang are the two that you'll see. Most of them though nowadays are actually ingoppang, but people still call them bungeoppang, and they're slightly different. Ingoppang would be the one that they use the sticky rice powder, tapsarkaru, and then it's like the glutinous, the more chewy kind of like mochi rice powder to make it. And they're also lighter in color because of that. They're a little bit chewier, and then the topping will be just in the belly on those ones. So you'll see like the topping not the topping, what do I say? Filling will be just in the belly region. They just put less filling because they're thinner. Whereas the bungeoppang is more bread-like, more like a waffle kind of texture, and it has more filling in it. But bungeoppang is typically just with pat, the red bean paste. That's like the traditional topping. I keep saying topping. Filling. But ingoppang, you'll see those too, but you'll also see a lot of them with like the cream filling, or it's like the custard cream. I've seen some with lemon as well, which are pretty good. And you can also get pat as well for that. So they're both good. I just found most places nowadays will sell the ingoppang because I think personally they taste a little better. I think that nice the crunch you get is worth it. It's worth having a slightly smaller like treat than the original 붕어빵, which are larger and a little bit more like waffle texture. Festivus for the rest of us. Yes. Now for the airing of grievances. Oh my, I miss hotteok and 붕어빵. Hotteok is great. That's my personal favorite in the regular months. So it doesn't have to be cold. When it gets cold, though, my favorite will be 잉어빵. But when it's regular months, like warm or cool or whatever, hotteok is, yeah. Oh, yes. In the 90s, we got snow twice that stuck. Once about 3 inches, the other time 1 inch that lasted only a day. Yeah, it's really rare. You're not going to get, I would say you, but I'm like, yeah, I mean, we're in the same, I'm from LA too. So yeah, it's like everywhere around here, it has snowed like historically before. It's just very, very uncommon. And every maybe like once a decade, you'll get it where it'll snow and you see it, but it doesn't stick around. Like it'll touch the floor and you'll be like, oh, it's snowing. And people jokingly build a snowman out of like the dirt, the snow covered dirt on the sidewalk. But yeah, we don't really get snowy streets or anything. Raven says, I like the egg one. That is 계란빵. 계란빵 is very overrated. If you've seen pictures of it, if you've tried it before, I'm not saying anything about your opinion. That's your opinion. If you haven't tried it before and you see it, it doesn't taste as like it looks. It doesn't quite taste as good as it looks. Now, if the place makes it really well and it's fresh, I think it tastes okay. Most of the time, though, you get reheated ones. They make a bunch of them at the beginning of the day or whenever, you know, throughout the day, they'll make a few of them. But when you order them, you're not going to get that fresh one because they don't want to give you the freshest new one. They want to give you the last one that they have to, you know, clear out their stock. So you always end up with one that's been sitting there for several hours. If you want the same experience, just make that thing where you put a piece of toast on a frying pan with some butter, cut a hole in the center and crack an egg into it, but then add sugar. And there you go. There's your 계란빵. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's a bit overrated. If you get it made correctly, though, it's okay. But I'm surprised at the number of people that say that like they love that. When I'm like, personally, okay, just my personal opinion. For me, it's not that special. Maybe I haven't had the right one though. Hudu gwaja is also delicious. That can be pretty good too. I've had some hudu gwaja that's like really fresh, and that's good too. You get the chewy, like the crunchy nuts on the inside of that as well, which is really nice. Welcome, welcome. Mike says, the worst idea they had was sugar on garlic bread. You're telling me. Preaching to the choir. I tasted that and was like, why? Why do this to such a perfect bread? Exactly. Garlic bread. Actually, it's not actually garlic bread that's the enemy here. The enemy is bread in Korea. Because Korea traditionally does not have bread recipes. Like Europe, you know, you'll have, you know, fresh sourdough bread, or, you know, you can have different types of bread, and it's all kind of like savory. And the idea is that you eat it to enjoy the flavor of the bread, just the wheat. And, you know, that's what you want. Whereas in Korea, traditionally, they don't have that. They only have, I can think of only a couple dishes that would be, I guess sujebi might be as well. But traditionally, wheat was not a regular thing in Korean dishes. Some dishes do have it, like kalguksu is like a rare Korean dish that would be made with wheat noodles. But typically you don't get wheat in a lot of Korean recipes. So when you get these pastries imported to Korea and they're trying it, they're like, what the heck is this? It's kind of like when rice, you know, enters a culture that doesn't have rice meals. What do people do with rice when you get it? Like, if you don't already know what rice is and appreciate the flavor of it, you're going to like cover it with maybe like the furikake, right? Or you're going to put like salt on it, or you're going to put like soy sauce on it, right? You know, tons of people like cover it in soy sauce. It's kind of the same idea for Koreans. It's like, well, what do I do with this bread? Like, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to do with this. Well, let's make it like a dessert, because Korea would have cakes, and cakes are always a dessert. So we have bread. That must be a dessert too. So they kind of make it more like other desserts by adding sugar to it. And you end up with a lot, not just the garlic, but a lot of bread dishes that are supposed to be savory that turn out to be sweet. And yeah, garlic bread was one of the casualties of that. Cake is also another thing that is, I'd say recently, Korean cakes. This is maybe bit controversial. Maybe people disagree with me. But if you have been in Korea for if you're familiar with Korea from more than a decade ago, then you'll know what I'm talking about when I say Korea did not have very good cakes. Korea's cakes were, I don't know the best way to describe it. Not sweet enough, maybe, would be a good way to describe it. Like, just something was off about for an American's taste buds. They were kind of off. So I remember when I was first living in Korea in 2005, getting a slice of cake and thinking, this is horrible. That was a bad bakery. And then having another piece after I told my friends about that, and having another piece in 2006 and having the exact same reaction. Like, wow, this cake's really not any good. But then going back again in like 2009 or 2010, I can't remember, and having cake again, and I'm like, this is actually pretty good. What happened between those years? And I think it was just that sort of those types of desserts became more popular and more places opened up, and then you get kind of the real recipes coming into Korea for that. But for a while, it was like a lot of the cakes I had tried, maybe it was just the dozen places that I went to in Busan randomly, but they just weren't very good. Now, garlic, though, I think you'll kind of get used to it if you have it for a while. The garlic toast, like if you expect it, I think it's not too bad. But I remember it being like a shock for me the first time I had the garlic toast because it's sweet. But then if you get used to it and you expect it to be sweet, I think it's okay. It can be okay. Match it with some warm milk. And then instead of matching it with like a cake because that's sweet, you match it with like maybe like soy milk, like warm soy milk, or like goguma or something else like that kind of counteracts the sweetness. I think it works okay. Gwabegi, says Keith. Yes, gwabegi is great. I think that originally is a Chinese bakery item that Korea also has as well. And then it came into came into the US. So our twist donuts in the US, I believe, are from the same recipe from China, from the Chinese immigrants into the US. Like, you know, how they built all the railroads in the US and stuff like that. I think that's where the US twist donut also came from. Isaac Toast is great. I like they keep coming out with new things, but the disappointing thing about Isaac Toast lately that just happened this year is they removed my favorite item on their menu that's been there since as far as I can remember, at least back in 2005, is their kiwi juice. They had a menu of different types of juice, and kiwi juice was my favorite. And it was so unique. It just had a really, really kiwi flavor to it. Like the kind of kiwi flavor that like, it's like, yeah, the sour type of flavor in kiwi. It was really good. And they got rid of that off their menu this year. So I was really disappointed not to see it anymore. Everything at Paris Baguette and other Korean bakeries is just disappointing, especially for me as a German. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. There are going to be some items you'll enjoy in Korea for bakeries though, but Paris Baguette might not be where you'll find it because that's Korean style. I recommend another place if you're German. Oh, by the way, I got new markers. These were paid for by your donations. So every time that people here send me support or whatever, sometimes I put it in a pen fund. So I bought a big box of refillable, like really thick, good pens. So I'll use one. I'll show you. Anyway, the place I'm going to recommend for a German or an American or anyone who just wants, if you live in Korea, I would try this. If you do not live in Korea, you do not need to visit a Korean bakery specifically. It'll be good. There are a couple items here though that are unique to Korea. I would say you should try. But if you're like looking for just some savory bread and you're anywhere near, they have these in other places, but really you have to go to Daejeon. Daejeon is the official place that has the headquarters for this. There are several buildings. There's one that's for desserts only. There's one that's for only bread. There's one that's for only like cookies and stuff. And I think there's another one only for cakes. There are like 3 or 4 of them in the same area. It's like the entire intersection is these stores. And there are lines out the door and lines in the entire store going all the way from the door through all both lines of stuff that you can see all the way up to multiple registers. It's always busy there now. But Seongsimdang will have items that are not sweet too. It's pretty good. They have Let me think. My favorite item there is the Myeongnan baguette. I'll try it in red because it's not a person's name. What would that be? Tight, like the Myeongnan. I don't know. I can't remember the English word. The only word I could think would be the Japanese term for it, which is not helpful. It is a type of fish egg. It's like the sack of fish egg kind of thing. Anyway, it's salty, it's fishy, and they have a Myeongnan baguette, which is a small baguette that's been cut open, and they put a bunch of this in, they put like butter in it, and then they toast it. It's really good. That's my favorite item. Then they have a couple other items that would be unique. Another unique Korean one would be soboro bang, which is another Korean type of bread that they make at Seongsimdang. They do a really good job at it. If you want to try soboro bang, you have to go to Daejeon to try it. I've tried the other locations. There's one in Seoul. I can't remember which station it's at, but there's another one in Seoul. There's another one I saw at Daegu as well. There are a couple other like franchise locations that also sell this. It wasn't anywhere close to it. The original one, you have to go to Daejeon to get it, even though it's the same store. These two I'd highly recommend. Very Korean. Okay, let's see. Toad in the hole. I can do it. Yeah, toad in the hole. That's right. Crunchy matzo brie. Claire says, I found an old history of Korea written in 1898, and it said wheat was primarily grown in the north while rice was mostly in the south. Maybe that explains the bread thing now. I don't know. That would be interesting. I didn't know that. I just know traditionally in Korea, like wheat dishes are not really a thing. It was more kind of like a fancy thing. I'm trying to think of an equivalent. It would be like, I don't know, like everyone likes steak, but how many people go out of their way to buy a tomahawk steak? Like maybe that sort of equivalency. Like you could get it. It's more expensive, but it just wasn't really a thing. Maybe that's not a good comparison. Anyway, wheat was not that common. It existed, but it wasn't that common. It wasn't used in regular recipes. So that's why kalguksu was like such a special dish at the time, because that was wheat noodles. Gwabegi tastes like Indian fry bread. It might also be the same origin. It might originally be from India. China got it and then brought it to Korea and then brought it to the US as well. I don't know. Caviar roe. Yeah, it's a type of caviar. But I mean, you don't eat it raw though. It's not one of the types of caviar you'd eat raw. It's cooked, at least as far as I know. It's always sold in like frozen little boxes, like maybe 10 or 20 bucks for a small box like that big. It's really good though. You can also make Myeongnan pasta, which is really good. You can get Myeongnan pasta at some restaurants in Korea. Amazing. If you like fish, eggs at all, it's really great. But anyway, the baguette that they have is fantastic. And you can get Myeongnan baguettes at other places too. They're nothing like the ones they have at the actual Seongsimdang. So I recommend there. Muriel Mimi says, what do you recommend after learning the alphabet? So if you've already learned the alphabet, I have a 100-episode course. I'm not making any money from that. It's free. Just check on my channel for beginner course. You'll find it. It's a big playlist. I would try there. It teaches the alphabet in the beginning, like the first few episodes, but you can just skim through those, just watch them on 2x speed. And everything past there will be what you should do after the alphabet. Myeongnan is spawn of a Polak. Yeah, I think that's right. Spolak. It's Polak something. Sounds like a great insult. Your mother was a hamster and your father is a spawn of a Polak. There are a few authentic German bakeries in Seoul, but they're all quite expensive and far from my neighborhood. But I have to go there from time to time or I'll get depressed. Sure. Yeah, I would try that. If there's an actual German bakery, yes. I went to an actual German restaurant once in Suwon. Also, Suwon is like to the southwest kind of Seoul. And I remember it was run by like some German lady and the food was pretty good. It didn't taste like Korean food at all. And the place though didn't last very long. I think it was only open for like a year or so and then they closed down. But yeah, I remember it was pretty good. It's hard for those places to stay open though, unless they have like a large enough community of those people to support it. Like if you have a restaurant that serves legitimate German food, who's going to go there? German people would love it. Koreans who are interested in trying out foreign food would love it, but it's not going to be most people. Most people would want something that matches their tastes that they already are used to. So if you give them food from another country that's not tailored to them at all, it can be a bit shocking. Like if you were to have actual Indian food, right? And it's like, oh, it's really spicy and the spices are so strong. And all these things can be a bit shocking to people. So they might not go back unless there's a big enough Indian population to keep it running, then they might close. So you'll typically end up finding most places in Korea that have legitimate food from another culture. They're all going to be in Seoul. And they're usually going to be around somewhere close to the neighborhood of Itaewon. Itaewon is where the military base used to be here. Oh, I wrote that kind of weird. It's not wrong, but it's better this way. Itaewon is a neighborhood of Seoul that's like traditionally had all of the foreigners living there. That's where the military base used to be until they relocated it a while back. But in here and around here are where you're going to find most of like actual food from another country and not the Koreanized version of it. With exceptions, though. It depends on the type of food. Some types of food you still won't find here. You'll have to find a place that has a high population of that community where you're trying to get the food for. But most of the foreign food you get in Korea is a Koreanized version of it, which is one of my pet peeves, I think. These days I have cravings every other day. Yeah. When you go to Seongsimdang, make sure to tell them, be like, oh, Billy sent me. They'll be like, who? You'll be like, you almost got me, pretending you don't know who Billy is. The Korean's like, no, seriously, I don't know who you're talking about. And this is part of the joke that they'll do with you if you say that. What food is to Koreans what Mexican food is to Americans in terms of popularity? I mean, popularity? I'm not really sure exactly what you mean. Mexican food's pretty popular. So what foreign food is popular to Koreans? Chinese food would probably be it. Because there are a lot of Chinese restaurants in Korea. And there are a lot of Koreanized Chinese restaurants also. And some of the Chinese food in Korea is from Korea. So like there is actual Korean-made Chinese food. Kind of like in the US, we have chop suey, which is not a Chinese food. It's just, American version of like what it would be like. And we also have Panda Express, which is Americanized Chinese food, which is really good. Chinese people go there too, but it's not actual, Chinese food. So maybe for them, it would also be Chinese food. I wouldn't say Japanese food, even though you might think so. Ramen would be like Korea has a lot of ramen places, but it's Koreanized ramen. They don't have Japanese ramen places. I'm not really sure. I make homemade marzipan and I can't do store-bought anymore. Homemade fresh is softer. Noah Deep says, I would assume Japanese food is big too. Yeah, you would assume that, but it's not. You won't find many Japanese restaurants in Korea. You'll find Korean-style sushi restaurants, which is different. You won't get the Japanese-style sushi very easily unless you go to like a small, high-end Japanese, like actual Japanese-style sushi bar. Otherwise, you're not going to get Japanese sushi. You'll get Korean sushi, which is different. Different ingredients like jalapeno, garlic, more emphasis on non-raw fish ingredients. Salmon in those really popular still. Salmon, though, is not really Japanese to begin with. I think that's Norwegian. But you won't get a lot of like the tuna belly. That sort of stuff is less common. The fish egg ones are less common. I find a lot of the Korean sushi is more where they add lots of toppings to it. So you have you start with the Japanese type of sushi, but then you add a lot of Korean style toppings to it. And that's the Korean style sushi sometimes. It's good, but you won't find the Japanese kind. And then for food as well, I've never seen, there are, but I haven't been to any. like actual Japanese like restaurants. Besides, like I said, besides Korean style Japanese ramen, which is everywhere nowadays, that was a trend from almost a decade ago that kind of stuck around, where a lot of like Japanese ramen places started opening in Korea. But again, it's not really Japanese ramen, it's just more Japanese style Korean ramen places. What else do they have that's Japanese food in Korea? Udon. You'll find udon. I actually have seen some udon, actual udon restaurants. Um, and then not monzayaki. Monzayaki is one of my favorites, but you'll find the what's that called? Okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki places I've also seen in Korea, and those are I'd say pretty Japanese style. The ones that I had in Korea too. Do you know a lot of hanja, or more like only the basic ones? No, I do know a lot of hanja, but to be fair, I've studied hanja before I studied Korean because I did Japanese for a few years and I really liked the kanji when I studied it. So I already had a head start on that when I started Korean. Decoy says, I know you like sundae. Oh, just note on the spelling, it's the te is the ai version, not with the stick in the middle. And I want to try it, but the Korean restaurants near me only have sundaekuk. Yeah, sundaekuk is the exact same sundae, but they put it into soup. Now, they'll give you different pieces as well. Like, sundae is just like, it's not one dish. Sundae is actually just the whole thing. Like, all of those types of things are known as sundae. But there are different pieces of the animal that will be also included in sundaekuk that you wouldn't get if you just ordered sundae as the dish. So typically sundae as the dish will just be that sausage. That's what people think of sundae. But if you order sundae for sundaekuk, it'll have some of that sausage, a few pieces, plus you'll get slices of other parts of the animal as well. Like typically the lungs, other parts of the intestine. Oh gosh, what else is there? Liver. You'll get a few other pieces of that as well, but it's still good. The reason they wouldn't give you those normally is sometimes they can be a little bit chewy and hard. So putting them in hot soup kind of helps to soften them and make them easier to eat. But yeah, I definitely recommend that. I still really like sundaekuk too. I just don't eat it during the summertime when it's hot. But anytime it's not hot, I also like that. In fact, I order sundaekuk at the restaurant and I get a side of sundae with it. So there's a bunch of izakayas in Seoul too. Yeah, that's true. Okonomi take. I think yeah, you're very close. Okonomi yake. You're just one syllable off. Pork cutlet. Yeah, tonkatsu is, though when you say tonkatsu, there are two kinds of tonkatsu. There's the Korean type and the Japanese type. Nowadays, the Japanese type is more common. The Korean type would be the ones that are really thin and served with kind of a sweet sauce. It'll be like a pineapple flavored tonkatsu sauce. And then you'll get a side of rice with some, a couple spoons of canned fruit, like pineapple and the little cherries and the little grapes. You know those canned fruit things that you can get at the store for like $1? Like a scoop of that. And then some corn, like sweet corn. But the focus of the Korean style is just that it's flatter and it has kind of a sweet sauce that's poured on top of it. It's kind of like an orangish thin sauce. And the Japanese type is thicker and crunchier with a brown sauce that's more savory and less sweet, right? They're both good. The Japanese kind is more common nowadays, and they do have actual restaurants in Korea that it's not too uncommon that will serve real Japanese tonkatsu that's pretty identical to what you'd get in Japan. I feel like that's one of the dishes that they don't have to change though that much for Korean audience, because it's literally just pork with the breading on top of it. And then the difference between the Korean version and the Japanese version is the Korean one, you'll get a side of kimchi with it. And the Japanese version, they'll give you a side of the pickled, it's like pickled cucumbers and then another type of pickled yellow vegetable. I can't really remember the name of it. So it's just kind of the sides that are a little bit different, but the rest of it is mostly the same. In fact, nowadays it's kind of harder to find the original one, which is called 옛날 돈가스. 옛날 돈가스 is the old tonkatsu as they call it, and that kind is a little bit harder to find. Pork cutlet with curry. Yeah, curry also. You'll find Korean curry restaurants as well. There's a franchise called Abikul, which I like, which is like, it's kind of Japanese style, kind of half Japanese, half Korean style, but it's really good. Okay, let's see. Someone has hello from South Africa. Welcome. Same rice? Yeah. The rice that Koreans have is mostly the same. Like if that you'll get at a restaurant is the same as you'll get in Japan. Korean home rice, like you'll make at your house, typically they'll mix in other types as well to make it like a little bit healthier. So it's not just plain white rice. So you'll get other things like they'll mix in some hukmi, which is like it makes the rice kind of like purplish. I wasn't really sure what color to call it, like blackish, purplish. The rice looks black, but it makes it like purplish color. Tony maybe asks, when is Keith moving to Korea? Keith, you were just in Korea, right? Are you planning on ever moving to Korea? Keith says he's too old for Korea. I think I'm the opposite. I don't want to live in Korea right now. I think though when I get older though it's possible. Like if I'm getting to like almost retirement, it might be smart for me to move to Korea just so I can finally get health insurance because at the way things are going, I doubt the US is ever going to get health insurance, but if I go to Korea then it might be a good idea, you know, get nice health insurance and have a good retirement over there. I don't know. Now I'm hungry and it's night. Yeah, gays, we always end up talking about food. No matter what the topic is, I could say today's topic is the grammar rules for whatever grammar form today, and then it'll always end up we'll talking about like food and stuff. Rachel says, longtime lurker, do you have a site or resource recommendation for the alphabet? Have you checked out my free beginner course? I have a whole free course. I also have cheat sheets. I'm surprised though. I always promote these, but I think most people when I say most people, not most people here, but most people who watch my channel don't know this, but I have free cheat sheets. So I have 12 cheat sheets. I have one all about the alphabet. These are free. I have 12 free cheat sheets. This one has all the letters, all their names, their pronunciation, how to write them, tips for them, how to make syllables, how to pronounce them correctly, everything on one page. And I have another 11 about different topics like colors, numbers, counters, holidays, all that stuff. But yeah, also all free. Keith, what was the highlight of your trip? Billy has books too. Yeah, I do have books too for people who like to spend their money. And I am happy if you learn with me for free or if you want to learn with me for my paid content. Yeah, I'm curious too. Keith, what was the highlight of your trip and why was it the restaurant that I recommended to you? Billy, your Hangul videos are the very best out there. No one else covers all the details. Thank you. I try. I have gone through the videos, but had not come across the cheat sheets. Awesome. Yeah, make sure to check out the cheat sheets. Those are, because I can tell because the cheat sheet, the first video has 18,000 views, which I'm thinking, oh, that's great, 18,000 views. But like a lot more people than that use my courses and stuff. And I'm like, I sure they would also like these and they're free. I don't make any money from them when people download it. So yeah, I that's why I think most people don't know. Oh, Mikey, thank you. Merry holidays. Is that legal? Can you say Merry holidays? Usually it's like Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas. But I guess you could do Merry Holidays just to like get everyone mad at you at the same time. How else could you splice those together? Happy Christmas. Oh, I think that's what they actually say in like England or something. I think that's what they said in the Harry Potter movies is like Happy Christmas or something. I'm like, Yeah, don't do that. Thank you. Gotta jump on that sponsor board. It's so lonely up there right now. Yeah, I was totally forgot about the sponsor board. Mikey just reminded me. Mikey. Thank you so much, Mikey. Mikey, the sponsor board is what pays for things like my markers and the ability to come to this beautiful, real, completely real location to do the live stream today, where it's snowing. It's not free to take the bus here, you know, and set up all my whiteboard and my lights and my microphone and everything. Masayuki says, Mikey says, had to mix it up. Masayuki says, Billy, I finished your beginner course and I bought your first 2 books for extra repeating and practice. Nice. Yeah, good luck with that. It's coming into a new year, 2026. Does anyone have any resolutions for the new year? I have some eating related questions, Keith. When is it okay to put rice in your broth? Yes. Can you ever drink the broth without a spoon? I left so much yummy soup in the bowl. So that's a good question. This is a Korea specific thing, because if you've learned like Japanese style or whatever, it's different. Chinese style as well. Korean style, you're not supposed to pick up your bowl and like, you're not really supposed to do that with your food in Korea. Unless you're by yourself, like at your house with your family, you know, do whatever you want. You can like put your foot in the bowl, whatever, because it's your house. But when you go out to eat with other people, you're supposed to keep the bowl on the table. So what do you do when there's some soup left? Well, it's a good question. There is something you can do. So here's the soup bowl. Here's the, going to draw a picture of what the soup bowl looks like. So there's your soup. It's really hot. And that's the tray. That's the dish, like the small bowl that it comes in, right? That goes on your table. So that way the bowl itself, the hot bowl, is not resting directly on your table, right? You have this like plastic or sometimes stone or whatever dish underneath it. So what you do is you tilt the bowl on its side, like slightly, so that this part of the bowl, just the edge, is resting on this bump here. Although you do it the other way so that you can see it. So like like if we look at an X-ray view, the other side of the bowl, like somewhere around here, rested on the other side of this little tray that it's on. So that way it gets like propped up. So it's kind of like, you know, at a 25-degree angle so that you can look into it. And that way all of the soup will pour to one side, and then you use your spoon and you just keep going like that. As far as your other question, when can you add the rice? There is no rule. Some people add the rice immediately when they get their order, because the rice, even though the rice is really hot, if you put hot steaming rice into a boiling soup bowl, it's going to cool it down a lot. It'll make it kind of even out so that the whole thing's really hot but not boiling. Some people do that right away. I like eating my rice separately from my soup. So I'm just kind of the person who likes to sit and let it cool down a bit, eat a little bit, eat some of my rice, eat the sides with my rice. And then when I get down to like the last, you know, a little bit, and then there's a little bit of rice left, I'll add it in. But you can add it in at the very beginning. And adding rice also is useful because it helps you to eat all of the soup in your bowl. So it kind of sucks up the last bits of soup at the end. So if you wait until the end and you add it when it's just a little bit left, then you can more easily kind of, you know, get it into your spoon and finish it off. Happy Christmas, Ron. Yeah, something like that, I think is what they say. And then Ron like went and expecto patronum all over everyone and something like that. I didn't really do anything outstanding. I just enjoyed speaking to some people in the markets with my limited capabilities. Mikey says, brave not to wear a jacket out there. Well, it's a thick shirt. It keeps me warm. And besides that, I have plenty of hair on my arms. But it's a good observation. You almost got me there. I'm glad to see the real, not green screen backgrounds. Yeah. I am really here right now. The only reason it's not moving, it's just because that snow is like stuck like glue. It's so cold that the snow in the background on the statue is just hasn't moved. Besides that, it's totally a real picture. And no one else is walking by either because they see me filming here and they know not to bother me. They all know who I am in Korea. They're like, oh, that's Billy. Don't go in his shot unless you want to be in his live stream. But there's a giant crowd of people like right in front of me, like hundreds of people just kind of staring. Alex says, resolve to get my study program back on track. Nice. If I can suggest anything, if you have a New Year's resolution, is that to start it right now, before the New Year's. That will help you to keep going on the New Year's. And if you can get started right now, you can definitely do it next year. Okay, Tony says, for someone wanting to work in Korea, what would you consider the least 빨리빨리 industry? Tony, you've hit on something accurate. That working in Korea means you're going to be micromanaged in a lot of companies and pushed to work really hard. At least, you don't have, not necessarily hard, but like pushed to do lots and lots of work and do lots and lots of overtime and not get paid for it. It's kind of a common theme in a lot of Korean companies. So Tony's asking, if I still want to work in Korea, but I don't want to have to deal with all of that, what can I do? There is a cheat code. There is a secret way to get around it. It's not really secret, but the secret way is you actually don't get hired in Korea. But wait, you don't get a job in Korea, but what you do is you get a job through a company in your home country, and you, with a job that you know can possibly be relocated to Korea. So let's say hypothetically that I know someone who works at a major video game company in the US doing networking. And he does a very good job. So the company says, hey, you're great, but we need a networker in Korea who can do exactly what you can do. Can you relocate to Korea for us? We'll pay you a little bit extra for relocating, and you're making your American salary with your American contract and your American work expectations and your American hours, but you're simply living in Korea with lower costs. How does that sound? That's how it works. Then you get to work for an American company. You're simply in Korea. That's the best way to do it. Now, not a lot of jobs will do that. Another option you can do is work for a startup where they might not be as, like, the company culture isn't quite formed so rigidly yet. They might not have so many bosses. You might just report to the CEO. You might work sitting next to the CEO at a startup. And you might be able to get a job as an intern at a startup company in Korea that's small and everyone's kind of friendly because they don't have the corporate culture yet. Now, if they grow, then they're going to get it. Probably they'll get that same corporate culture. But while they're startup, you have a better chance at having more of a work-life balance there. So those are the two options. The second one would definitely be easier to do. And I know people who've done both of those options. American etiquette is the same in regards to tilting the bowl. Tilt it away from you. That's the American style. Korea, though, it doesn't really matter. I haven't seen anyone tell me that. I could be wrong, but I've never heard anyone tell me that. And I see other people tilting it toward them. But I've never researched it further. So I could be wrong about that. Maybe you're supposed to also tilt it away in Korea. I feel like tilting it toward you is better, though, because if you tilt it away, then you have to lean over the bowl to see inside of it. Whereas at least if you tilt it toward you, there's less, you can lean less to get it. Jejuberry says, thanks to your videos, my Korean learning has improved. So I'm not worried about my 2-month work trip to Korea. Oh, work trip. Oh, that's cool. Where are you going to go? I guess it's Seoul, but it could be somewhere else. Was just going to say the square is quite quiet today. Yeah, that's because of my live stream. I actually reserved this entire square for today. It was extremely expensive. I spent thousands of dollars hoping to make all of that back in ad revenue. But then I remembered I didn't turn ads on for the live stream. So I might have messed up. But it's okay. Epic Travick says, Billy, no questions. Just want to say thank you for the great content. You're welcome. Yeah, for anyone just tuning in, this is normally we have a class most Sundays, but the last 2 Sundays in a row we had lessons about grammar topics. So today is just it's a free day. There's no lesson today. There actually is no live today. There's not supposed to be a live stream today, but because I can do whatever I want, I decided to turn it on anyway. So yeah, any questions? Even though it's snowing outside, this drink is so hot that it warms my entire body, so I don't need a coat. Ooh, it's like lava. Will there be a live stream next week? Yes, there will be 2 more live stream classes in a row. Merry Christmas, Billy and family. Thank you. Is Chinese useful for a job there? At a company that does international work with Chinese clients or a Chinese company? Yeah. I mean, every language can be useful anywhere. Just really depends what you're using it for. I think Korean also is especially useful. But yeah, it just depends what kind of job you're doing. I was able to get several jobs in the past specifically because I spoke Korean. Claire asks, do you have multiples of your shirt and cap? If not, are those unique trademark items insured? They are not insured. But yes, I do have another one of these hats identical in Korea right now, in my storage area in Korea at this moment. And I have several others of these similar shirts. Not this exact shirt. I only have one of this exact shirt, but several that are similar enough that no one would know if I wore a different one. Tilting away so you don't accidentally spill it on yourself. How would you spill it on yourself? I'm not sure how you'd spill it on yourself by tilting it forward. I guess if you tilt it forward and it falls completely forward, like you over tilted it and it rolled over onto you. I guess. I don't know. The Korean bowls though are so thick that you couldn't spill it if you tried. Like you'd have to actually pick it up and dump it. So I don't think it really matters in Korea, but I could be wrong. There could be like a official, like a, what's that word? Like a table manners guide in Korea where it says you have to tilt the bowl away from you. But I haven't seen people do that. Usually they'll tilt it forward. Cyber Dragon. Hey, thanks for the donation, Cyber Dragon. I'll get to your question in just a second. Will you write your name up first? Cyber Dragon. All the donations today go toward Jeremy's Christmas gifts, which we've already purchased. Something like that. Thank you, Cyber Dragon. And you're asking, would you say Korean would benefit if they brought hanja back for daily writing and usage? Okay, so you're talking about what the Japanese does, where you'll have like let me see if I can even remember how to write. my what was that? Oh wait, no. I think, hold on. Yes, there we go. Okay. I haven't done like the Japanese writing in forever, so I'm trying to remember, how do I even write the... No, it's not that one. It's, hold on, I got it. Yeah, there we go. Is that right? Is that the cool? Because I haven't written the Japanese ones in forever. I think something like that. Anyway, you get the idea. So you'd have like your mixed script in Japanese, which is what I'm trying to show. I'm not a Japanese teacher for reference. Although I can read it and understand it. That's because I'd been doing it for forever, since before Korean, but I don't keep up with it. So you'll have like the regular Oh my goodness, this is horrible today. You'll have the regular, yeah, bad grip. You need another dash. Oh yes, thank you, thank you. Okay, that's why it looked weird, because that's the cool. That's right, for 5. Okay. Something looked a bit off. Let me check. Yes, thank you. Yes. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm ready to start my explanation. So you have like your hiragana or your katakana or whatever like that, which is basically like the equivalent of your standard alphabet, which is they have a limited number of characters you can use, and they represent sounds. And this is very simple to learn. Kids learn this, right? So that would be equivalent to like your hangul, right? Yeah, I can write that a little better. But they used to do that in Korea, where they would have a mixture of the Korean and the hanja words as well. And you're asking if it would be better if they brought that back. Let me see if I can even write an example, kind of illustrate it better. Then we get we'll do the same thing. Sure, why not? How would I'm like running out of space here. Anyway, it would go up to here. Okay, so you get something like that, where you get a mixture. So is this better, where you have, this is not Japanese, this is Japanese, where you have like your Korean mixed with Japanese? Is this, sorry, hanja. Would this be better system for Korea? If you have a culture where everyone is literate, everyone can, for the majority, can read and write just fine, this would not save any time writing. It could save time reading in one situation. So there's a big difference between Japanese and Korean writing, and it's spaces. Japanese does not use spaces. You don't need them. You add spaces for like after punctuation and stuff, like if you have a comma or a period, but the sentences themselves can be more compact. You don't need spaces. In Korea, you do need spaces, because if you don't, it can be hard to read, just like English without spaces. So would these help make reading or writing faster? Writing, no, would be way longer to write this instead of 일본어. It's really fast. Reading, would it be faster to read it? 이것은 일본어가 아니다. No, it would not be faster in either case. Is it necessary for confusion, though, for the sounds? I don't think so. Korea has a lot more possible sounds that you can make with the alphabet than you can in Japanese. So Japanese, you're limited to, I know I'm going to screw it up. Is this 81? Is it 81 or 91 unique syllables? I know there are more possible sounds you can get with like, the NG sound and stuff, but I think it's 81 or 91 syllables, something like that. And that's it. Korean, on the other hand, has somewhere, I believe, in the Unicode, a possible of like 11,000, although I know that all of those aren't going to be used commonly, but hundreds, let's just say hundreds of very commonly used different syllables. So you have way more possible combinations that you can make with the Korean alphabet than you could with a syllabic language like Japanese, where each one is limited to one vowel and one consonant, except for the letter N. You're limited to one vowel and one consonant for all of these syllables, as well as when you read the kanji, you're limited to those same ones. It's Nihongo. It's still, you could write it with these ones as well. Korean, you have so many other possibilities that I don't think there's any sort of speed benefit. The only benefit I could see for this would be reading without speaking it. If you're really good at the characters, you'd be able to potentially read it faster if it's written like this than if it's written the regular way. If there were no spaces, right? If you need like compactness. Otherwise, no, I think for the common person, it would just make things much harder and more annoying. And as you know, there are so many characters that have very similar appearances, like almost identical, but they're different. And you have to account for those as well. So you really have to get good at these for them to be a benefit in Korean. Whereas in Japanese, you need them. Otherwise, you're going to have lots of confusion because there are so many, like, hashi and hashi. Like if you're speaking, you can differentiate those by pitch accent, right? But if you're writing, you can't just write that unless it's going to take a little bit more context to see. Sometimes you can have a little bit more confusion for some of the words in Japanese because there are fewer possible syllables that you can make. So the long way of answering, no, I don't think it'll help. For the 3 people watching who knew both languages and knew what I was talking about, thanks for bearing with me. M. Plumberman saying you can just make it up. We'll never know. Well, people who know Japanese will know I'm full of it if I start making stuff up. Will you ever do a collaboration with YouTuber Oriental Pearl? I don't know who that is. I've only heard the name. Is it normal that I'm still a beginner after 4 years of studying Korean because I always go in depth of each beginner grammar that is almost intermediate and it slows me down extremely? So 4 years of studying Korean, I would, like, if I don't generalize your situation, I would step back and write down on a piece of paper exactly how have I been studying Korean for those past 4 years? Like how much time am I putting in each day or each week or whatever? What resources exactly am I using? And I would bring that to a tutor and I would ask them, because I can't give you an answer without generalizing too much. And if you've been studying for 4 years, but you're still a beginner, there's something in there that you're missing. Because 4 years to be a beginner is not like, oh, that's pathetic. It's nothing like that. But typically, if you're studying like efficiently, you're doing a lot of studying and you're using various resources and you're practicing, 1 year, 2 years-ish should be fine to get out of the base beginner level where you're like clearly telling yourself, man, I'm such a beginner, like that level. If you're at the 4-year mark, I would say it's not terrible though, but at this point it's clear you want to write down exactly what you've been studying, how much, everything like that. Bring it to a tutor, bring it to someone who can give you like personal guidance on that, and not just me telling you like, study harder, you can do it like that. Because I think you could get some, I think someone, if to be able to look into exactly what you're doing, will be able to give you some more insight on that. And that's something I do too, but I wouldn't be able to do it during a live stream. Jinxie says, my Korean reading and writing is coming along nicely. Nice. However, my listening is terrible. So listening is not really something that you should worry about. It's something that you are worried about, and it's something that it's not automatically going to get better. But it's not something you should worry about because your listening is always going to be better than your writing and your speaking. It's all just by default. You're always going to have much better listening than you will speaking. Listening will get better though on its own simply by doing lots more listening. But that's the only thing that'll get better by doing lots of listening is just your listening. You're not going to get better at speaking by listening. So if you're feeling like my reading and writing is coming along nicely, that should be the only part you should focus on. How is your actual reading and how is your actual writing specifically, and speaking? How is that coming along? The listening part is going to come along on its own, as long as you're satisfied with the output stuff. The listening part will eventually, you'll notice it's much better. But you're probably feeling like this: oh, I'm getting better, but I still can't understand spoken Korean, which is not, it's not an issue to worry about. That's something that you'll be able to do when you actually get fluent at Korean, is understanding fluent Korean. And the earlier stages really just focus on making correct sentences. Can you read sentences slowly? And then for listening practice, try something that's simpler. Like try the Korean learning podcasts that are spoken in Korean, that are spoken really clearly with subtitles or transcripts. Do something like that for your listening practice. You might find you can follow along those okay. And those are also real Korean too, but it just takes more time. Jinxie says, oh, also, what are your thoughts on AI chat apps? Horrible. They're very unnatural. That's all I can say. Billy, you should do a Japanese and Korean comparison lesson. I've done some like short lessons here and there, but like keep in mind, I'm not a Japanese teacher. My Japanese knowledge was at its peak. I was like low intermediate speaker at my best. Understanding, I can actually understand like really good, I think, because I did so much listening practice at the time. And I did lots of reading practice and I did lots of writing practice and everything, but I didn't do it long enough. My entire Japanese studying would be less than 3 years. And that was completely on my own. So some of that was wasted with not knowing what to do. So it's only enough to compare it with Korean, but it's not enough to teach it on the side. So I'm limited, like I can't do too in-depth stuff besides stuff that would be covered within the, the beginner level of Japanese. She can speak 5. Can she speak Korean? If not, I'm not sure I would be able to do a collab. I think the most important thing in learning a language is learning words. You can't express yourself even if you know grammar perfectly, but without any words. Yes, you do need words, but how do you use those words if you don't have grammar would be what I would say as well. And when in the advanced level, most of what you're going to be learning is going to be just vocabulary because you already have the grammar to put to use it in. But in the beginning, I would say really you don't need to focus on words so much because how are you going to use them if you don't know how to conjugate? You don't know like how to conjugate verbs or how to conjugate the color verbs. So like, how would you say something is red if you learn the verb bayagata and you learn the word bayagan and bayagansek and bayagang and you learn all these different words for red and you're like, well, how do I use them? I know them, but how do I use them? And yeah, so I would just say don't worry too much about vocabulary in the beginning. You'll get there. But as you get better, you will need to focus more on it. Bedberry says, the Koreans in my local Asian food shops are saying I'm getting better at speaking. Nice. Dean Baggio, thanks for everything you've done. Do you have a couple of favorite everyday useful intermediate words that are super useful once acquired? Intermediate words. I think filler words would be what you're looking for. Don't say and in Korea. Don't make sounds when you're thinking. That'll be a tip I'll give you. You can be silent. If you know that they know you're thinking, you can be silent. But the quickest thing that tells me someone doesn't speak Korean very much is when they're speaking and they insert like that. That's not a Korean thing. They do make sounds for thinking, but that's when you want to convey, hold on, I'm thinking. I am thinking right now. Let me think about it. Like when you really want to convey that, not for when you're actually just thinking of what to say and you're like, wait, I'm still thinking, wait. Like that we do in English, like just to fill space. That's one thing. I would just focus on filler words. So get better at using like for questions. I really like adding 혹시. 혹시 is like by chance. You think you might happen to, that sort of literal meaning, but it just adds a feeling of like, do you think maybe by chance? Could it be? It's like, I'm not sure. It just has that kind of soft feeling, like you're kind of passing it up to the person you're asking a question. So 혹시 with a question, I like that as a filler. 좀. Add 좀 to every sentence. Not every sentence, but like any sentence you can add it to. You can add it anywhere. It's just like a little like it just has the softening feeling to your sentence. It literally means kind of or a little. So it's like kinda. So like kinda, do you think kinda, maybe kinda? And it sounds fine in Korean though. It just makes a sentence softer. It makes a question softer. It makes a request or a suggestion softer. So I might say some of these. They're not necessarily intermediate, but I think using them makes your Korean sound a little bit better than it is. And I have some other videos as well if you search filler words on my channel. Decoy says, I've been reading through a podcast transcript and then listening to the podcast after reading through the whole thing. That's a really good method. English, Korean, Japanese, Mandarin, Korean. I haven't heard. Send me a video in my Discord of her speaking Korean. Every time I see another polyglot claim to speak Korean, I always get very suspicious because I've been teaching Korean for a long enough time that I can tell right away when someone actually speaks it and when someone's reading from a script or saying something they memorized. So I'd be really curious. There are a few people I know who are able to speak Korean as well as other languages pretty well, and I can name those people. Lindy Boats is one. And yeah, there are a few of them, but the majority I've seen, I won't comment, I won't say their names, the majority I've seen that claim Korean as one of their languages are not speaking Korean. They're reading it. They prepared it. Or another thing you can do is you can make the subtitles completely natural and sound like you're really good, but the Korean that they're using is unnatural. Anyway, I won't talk too much about that because I don't want to. 혹시 혼자 먹어도 될까요? Very good. Is 좀 informal or formal? It is neither. You can use it in any speech level. If you're using it in formal speech or informal speech or casual speech, it still has the same softening feeling. No, just follower of hers. Okay. No, I didn't think you were trying to like promote the other YouTuber anyway. I just don't know about her enough. Have you done a collab with Lindy Boats? Not yet. I would like to. I know recently she posted on her Instagram she had some like surgery done as well. So maybe I'll ask her once she's fully healed again. What are your favorite ways to prepare and eat kimchi? Just eating it? I don't know. You can make spam kimchi, where you chop up a can of spam into little cubes and you fry it with a bunch of kimchi in a big wok with a little bit of oil, and then you serve that on top, a big scoop of that on top of rice, fresh rice, and you eat it. It's called spam kimchi. It's really good. I pretty much watched all your live streams, and my grammar, I would say, is pretty good. Is there anything else I should do other than Anki, listening, and using Korean daily? Using Korean more daily would be my biggest suggestion, but it would depend. Like, because I see you in here all the time, Kazuma, which is good. To tell you exactly what you should do, or like what you could get the most out of, I would really want to hear you speak. I'm not offering this to everyone, but Cosma, if you make a short video of yourself speaking in Korean, you're not trying to impress me here. You're not uploading this publicly for everyone to see. You can DM me on Discord and just make an honest video. Tell me, you can say some basic things in Korean. You can say some things in English if you can't think of them. I will give you some personalized feedback about what I think you can improve or what I think you should focus on. She makes the locals can't believe foreigner speaks their language. Ah, yeah, I've seen enough of those. If I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to diss anyone. I'll just say most of the ones I see, it's not someone speaking very much Korean. And I mean, that speaking any level of Korean is impressive. In fact, that's the next episode you'll see of my podcast. If anyone's watching the podcast, some of you are, there's going to be a new episode coming up this Thursday. So on Christmas morning, that's your present, is an episode about, are Korean people secretly judging you when you speak Korean? Like, what are they actually thinking when you speak to them? So what would a Korean think if you came up to them and started speaking in their language suddenly? That sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing against the style of video or anything, but if someone's video title says speaks Korean, that doesn't necessarily mean the person's claiming to speak fluently. It just means they're using it. And that's good, right? I mean, you want to use Korean no matter what your level is. But if you see other people upload them, don't assume that someone else speaking Korean is speaking it well unless they claim that they're speaking it really well. And just because they say they're speaking doesn't mean that they're saying that they're fluent at it. And most of those videos I see, the person is not very high level at Korean. They're trying, and that's cool, but I think it's just to kind of make YouTube content. So some of it will be legitimate and the person speaking well. Most of it I see, it's like they'll say a couple memorized phrases with clearly beginner pronunciation, but you're still going to get really good reactions either way. Through Discord? Yeah, through Discord. Like I said, it's just an invitation to Cosma, because I've seen Cosma here. Like, Cosma, I feel, sleeps outside in a sleeping bag with a tablet that has my live streams permanently wired up. So that's all that they can do is they sleep. And then when they get an alert from my live streams, they come up and they join my live stream. So specifically for Cosma, I'll make that offer. Normally though, I would just do that. Like if someone booked me for tutoring, which again is not something I advertise because I prefer doing as much of my stuff for free as possible. But for some people who have booked me for private tutoring, it is something that I also offer, where we kind of just go over all of the stuff they've been using so far and then give them personalized advice for like where they need to go. And then I say bye and I never see them again because I just give them some really quick advice. But yeah, Cosmo, I'll do that for you. Yeah, new podcast episode for Christmas. And then every 2 weeks going forward, there will be a new episode. Don't say anything about her, she'll get you. Okay. I don't know her for the record, so I can't say anything positive or negative, but I'm sure she's a nice person. That's all I can say. What did you do to understand people when you were living in Korea as a beginner? I didn't. That's the fun part. I didn't. Cosma, yeah, I think Cosma is actually probably around here too somewhere if I look. Steve Kaufman confirmed Korean fraud. No, Steve, I haven't heard him speak Korean at all since like 2017 or something. I remember he did a video speaking Korean, and I really liked one thing that he did. I don't believe he speaks Korean anymore. I think that was a long time ago, but he was studying for several years. And I liked one thing that he did is he would do something that I often suggest people do. And that's you book a tutor to practice speaking Korean, and you actually just speak in Korean. And he was doing that, which is cool. Like, instead of talking with a Korean tutor in English and asking them questions, you just speak. It doesn't matter if it's correct or not. It doesn't matter if they understand you or not. You work around that. Like if they don't understand you, you try saying it a different way. You reply to what they say. Just like I remember made a video where he was just speaking with a Korean tutor. And I thought, awesome, you're doing something good there. But that was a very long time ago. I don't believe he studies it anymore. So I would assume he's forgotten it. Can he do an update? If you're watching, Mr. Steve. Sorry. Sounds so weird to be like Mr. Steve. But yeah, if you're watching there, if you make an update, that would be cool. I follow Billy everywhere. Yes. I'm not promoting her, but Oriental Pearl is legit. She's obsessed with studying languages, kind of like Lindy. Lived in China and Japan. Korean is a more recently. Okay, well, maybe that's why I hadn't heard of her if Korean's recent. I'd be curious. I'm always curious about other people learning Korean. I think it's cool, and I like following other people who are making content for the Korean language. And I do follow several other people on Instagram and YouTube for that sort of content, just to kind of see what's going on. Favorite Korean historical figure? Lee Sun-shin. And behind him, Sejong-daewang, actually, is probably my favorite. Sejong-daewang, if I have to pick one. Lee Sun-shin is a close second. He'd like to jump back into Korea. Okay, that'd be cool. Yeah, I didn't know too much about him. I just know he does, like, the study, the focusing on speaking practice, which I think is really good. Every teacher has like their different philosophies, right? Like, oh, you gotta do this, or you gotta do this, or you gotta do this. As long as someone's not going out and saying this is the only way, then I think that's pretty cool. But if he goes back into Korean, I'd like to see what his techniques are for that, how he improves. I honestly have that same feeling when I need to address Billy, Mr. Billy. I sometimes get Sir Billy as well. That's my favorite, Sir Billy. Or Sir Belly. I get belly too a lot. Billy, how would you translate Sonada? Don't give me things to translate that don't translate. Steve learned, at least by as one word. Steve learns multiple languages and he focuses on input and speaking. Yeah, I mean, basically it's not a secret. It's called immersion learning, which is like the best way to learn practically. The problem with that is it not in itself. It's correct. The problem with that is most people can't do it. It's like if I were to tell you the best way to learn Korea is to move to Korea and live in there and interact with people every day and listen 100% of the time. But you can't do that if you're self-studying. My channel is not for people who are already living in Korea, working in Korea, around Korean people every day. You don't need me to learn Korean if you already have that sort of great opportunity. You might come to me for like quick questions if you can't find it or you just can't figure it out. But I'm for self-study. Like you're trying to learn Korean and you are not already living in Korea in a Korean language program with Korean language friends. That's why it's not feasible for everyone, is for me to just say, oh, you just got to do listening and speaking. That's great. Most people though don't have, 4, 5, 6 hours a day to do listening and reading and speaking practice every day. And there are other things you can kind of do as a shortcut to kind of help make up for that lack of time that you're able to give by also focusing a little bit more on grammar, getting in some grammar notes as well, and then making sure to get listening practice on the side. So it's a more practical way to do it with a limited amount of time. But I mean, obviously the best way to learn any language is to move to that country and speak that language, right? Duh. You want to get good at Korean, but like you really want to get good at Korean, live in Korea. You can't do that? Well, we've got a good close second alternative. Obviously it's not the best. It's not as good as living in Korea, but you can still get a lot done through self-study, doing lots of, listening practice, reading, practicing your speaking, making friends, all that stuff outside of Korea. So it's more accessible to more people. 서운하다 letdown. That could work. Sir Billy of the Round Table. Yes. I am Sir Billy of the Round Table. We think of like Monty Python or something. Brave Sir Billy ran away. 서운하다, you treat me less than I was expecting. Let down, I think kind of works, Keith. I was thinking my first thought in my head is like, sad. They work in context. I feel like out of context, it's tricky to translate stuff. I'm not a translator. It's tricky to translate stuff in Korean outside of context because the words have a feeling that will match an English word in a certain situation and then like not in another situation. Like you have to translate it differently. Can you explain how 돼요 and 되다 work? 돼요 is simply the yo form conjugation of 되다. If you're asking that question though, it means you have not learned yet about how to conjugate verbs, which is fine. If you're a beginner, you're getting started. Check out my 100 episode course right here on YouTube. It's free. There is nothing you can even buy if you wanted to. Completely free 100 episode video course. Start there. And the first episodes will teach you the alphabet, which you already know. You can watch those at 2 times speed. And then beyond there, you'll learn how to conjugate verbs. And really quickly, it'll answer your question on what that is. I ordered sundaekook and kimchijeon, 배달 음식, because I'm lazy and it's cold outside. Oh, that's really nice. Kimchijeon's great. I listen to K-pop groups and K-dramas. Also got friends in Susan too. I think learning the language is necessary too. Living in the country alone does not really help if you don't put in some effort in the meantime. People living in Korea, yeah. The best way to learn Korean is obviously you live in the country, you interact with those people every single day, and you have to use the language all the time. Period. Like no arguing with that. The problem is you get a lot of people who go to Korea, make friends with other expats, other foreigners living in Korea, use English to Korean people in public because they don't know the words in Korean and they're not practicing. They make a girlfriend who's Korean, but or boyfriend. I'm saying girlfriend because in my mind, I'm assuming some guy, but girl can do this too. Make a partner in Korea who is someone who wants to learn your language. Maybe they're using you, maybe they're not. But regardless, they want to use your language. So you're speaking to them in English, let's just say, and that's it. Now you're stuck. How are you going to get out of that situation? How are you going to make Korean friends? You have a girlfriend. You can't meet other friends because you have a girlfriend, all your time spent with her or him. Can't make other friends because your expat friends are going to be like, where are you going? How come you don't want to hang out with us on weekends? And they're cool people. So what are you going to do? And then your job is teaching English, so you're not supposed to use Korean there. So now you're stuck. Live like that for 10 years? You're going to end up with like the vocabulary of a 2-year-old because you're only going to hear things in passing while you're walking around. It's not a given that you're going to learn Korean even if you're in that environment. So that's where a language teacher comes in, is like, hey, okay, well, you have this situation, but here's how you can still learn some Korean regardless. Most people, I think, aren't able to do the full immersion technique, even if the full immersion technique has been and always will be the most effective and the most fast way to learn any language. It's how I learned Korean. I didn't take Korean classes when I lived in Korea. I was just in Korea talking with everyone in Korean. Like, that's how most people I know also learn Korean the same way. I can't think of anyone who didn't learn Korean that way, who speaks it at a high level. No, there are some people who also did like self-study and then moved to Korea after, but it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time. So classes and stuff like that are a way to supplement what you can't get in your current environment. 지금 몇 시예요? Right now is 지금은 3시예요. 지금은 3시예요. Billy, if you had time to learn another language or continue with Japanese, would you do it through Korean or English? If I was doing a different language, I would do it through English. You have to pretend you don't speak English. Sometimes I did. Sometimes I told people, 실례지만 제가 프랑스 사람이어서 영어 잘 못하거든요. I would tell them I'm French because French was the language I had studied in high school. I couldn't speak it, but I had studied it. And so I told some people, this would not be a friend. This would be like a random person in passing who I didn't want to use me as their free temporary English teacher while I was waiting in line or while I was at a restaurant. Someone just randomly walks up to you and starts speaking to you in English. They just want to show off or practice their English. I'm like, that's okay, but I'm trying to study Korean, or I just don't want to talk right now. I'm trying to eat my food, or I'm trying to do something else. So then I would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't speak English. And then they would quickly lose interest because they didn't care about talking to me. They just wanted to speak in English with someone. So I've done that sometimes, not commonly. Oh yeah, Chin, the thing I'm telling you is the question you're asking actually doesn't make sense because they are the same thing. 돼요 is the Yule form conjugation of the verb 되다. And if you watch the 100 lesson beginner course, you'll get that, which is why I recommend watching that, because after you watch just the first 20 episodes of that, you'll already know exactly what I'm talking about. But without knowing what a verb is, what conjugation is, what the Yule form is, you're not going to understand the answer to my question. But it is just the Yule form conjugation of 되다. 되다 itself is just the verb. Yeah, no hablo inglés. No, señor, no hablo inglés. Sure, that could work. Although you look at my face and you're like, yeah, no, you don't even speak Spanish. 그럼 제가 한국어로 자연스럽게 말하고 싶으면 드라마에서 배우면 효과가 될 수 있어요? Can it be effective? Oh, okay. Would that be? I think you were trying to say, yeah. Would that be an effective method? Dramas, no. TV shows, yes, but dramas don't have natural everyday Korean in them, so I usually don't recommend dramas. In fact, most teachers I talk with, I've only met a couple teachers before who said that they'll sometimes recommend watching dramas to their students. The majority I talk with will say the same thing. Don't watch dramas. Instead, watch variety shows or other types of like talk shows or podcasts or something like that. Did you have to speak French to them to prove it? Have I ever spoken? No, unfortunately, I never had anyone that challenged me on that. If they did, they'd be like, oh, très français, France. I'd be like, oh, oui, oui. Bien sûr, oui, oui. Je suis français. No, I've never had to prove it before, and I wouldn't be able to. No, the question is not about the word. I mean, the question is not about the sound. Jihoon, the question was about the words. Sound wise, it's the same, but they weren't asking about Toyo. They're asking Tweda. Yeah, what if they knew French? Fortunately, nobody knows French except French people. So, yeah, no, I didn't have to worry about that. Je ne parle pas anglais. Yeah. Ah, je suis désolé. Je ne parle pas anglais. Sorry, I don't speak English. And they'd be like, oh, you're French. Yeah. I have met a couple Koreans before, a few Koreans before that do speak French. I mean, even what is it? Hyunwoo, even at Talk to Me in Korean, knows some French. But I never had anyone challenge me in that moment to say or try using French to me before. I did have some what I did the only time I ever had a person use French to me in Korea was this super racist guy I encountered in the city of Daegu. uh I think that would be a fun podcast episode to talk about in more detail. But anyway, I was in Daegu meeting another friend, and I was we were getting ready to film an episode at a park, and suddenly this guy, probably like early 60s, comes up to me looking really angry and starts speaking to me in French. And he asked me in French. I understood his French. I can't repeat it to you because I don't speak much French, but I understood it. And he's like, how come, he said in French to me, why are you only speaking in English in Korea? You're in Korea. Why are you speaking in English? Is what he said to me, which was really strange because I replied to it, 저 오늘 영어 한 마디도 안 했는데요? Because I was speaking with my friend who's Korean in Korean the entire time. But this guy comes up to me, says in French to me, why are you only speaking in English in Korea? And I replied to him like that. And he got mad. Obviously, he wasn't expecting me to reply to him like that because, you know, it's not very polite to reply to him. But he's getting in my face. So I didn't want to be nice to him. And he was saying that he's like, oh, yeah, I think it's because the military base was in Daegu. And he was thinking I was some military guy from France. Maybe, do I look French? Maybe he just wanted to show off that he speaks French and he wanted me to reply to him in English saying I don't know what he's saying. But anyway, I only spoke Korean with him and he was just ranting about how all the people here in Daegu are just foreigners and they're all just speaking in English, and why don't you speak Korean if you're in Korea? You should go back to your own country, like that sort of thing. And yeah, it was just kind of weird. And the Korean friend I was with was like, that guy was weird. What was his problem? Very rare, though, that kind of thing happens. Hyunwoo from Talk to Me in Korean is also live. Oh, nice. Yeah, I know they sometimes go live on Sundays as well. Maybe Billy and Hyunwoo can do a live together. We had before. We had done some live streams together before. I did one at the Talk to Me in Korean office a few years ago, and we've done, what do you call, like, collaboration live, like lives together on Instagram a couple times before for him. I got level 5 in Topic, but I can't speak quickly and naturally well. So Topic is not related to your actual speaking ability. I say this every time, but Topic is your ability to take the Topic exam. And partially a judge of your Korean ability, but mostly it's about how well can you take the Topic exam. So I've heard people who pass level 6 who you can't have a conversation with. I mean, typically if someone's good at Korean, you're going to get a higher Topic score. So it does correlate somewhat, but you can prepare for the Topic without getting this actual, you know, real language knowledge from that test. So I wouldn't let yourself feel bad about that. The Topic score doesn't represent your speaking score. Speaking quickly, though, that could just be your regular speaking voice. Do you speak quickly in your native language? Are you like a really fast speaker? Because I found I'm a pretty quick speaker in English, and in Korean, I tend to speak rather quickly as well. But other people I know who are slow speakers will speak slowly in Korea. As far as naturally, you're just gonna need to get a lot more listening practice for that, because naturally speaking comes from imitating what other people say. It's not going to come from just practicing lots of your voice. You need to hear other people speak, and the only way to get that is lots of listening practice. Preferably like actual conversation practice, but at least listening practice where you're actively listening to what someone's saying and trying to break down the words in your head as you're hearing them. the only way to get that would be, listening to tons of podcasts or like YouTube channels or something that's natural Korean that you're going to hear in the real world that you could potentially use. Bev Berry says, I want to thank Billy for inspiring me to learning Korean. Nice. Helping to improve my brain fog. Hopefully it's not like sleep apnea or something. Billy without studying to topic versus topic. I'm not sure what you mean. I've heard it being compared to the JLPT. I never took the JLPT. I was going to start preparing for that before I ended up going to Korea, I remember. But I never looked into it, so I don't know. When life gives you tangerines. Nice. I need to watch that drama. I'm not sure which drama. Oh, is that? Yeah. Oh, the drama. Okay, yeah, you're talking about that drama. I thought you were talking about previously I was talking about dramas for learning. I thought you're mentioning that for a second. I see what you mean. Can you recommend any shows for listening practice? No TV shows, that like no dramas, no movies. I always just recommend like YouTube for listening practice. I think these days on YouTube, there is so much good listening practice out there. Vloggers are fine. They're going to speak really naturally. You want to hear what Korean actually sounds like? Subscribe to a vlogger. That's what Koreans are actually using, like no scripts or anything. Podcasts are also good because they know that you're just listening to them. So they're going to try extra hard to speak clearly and slowly. So do Korean learning podcasts, just like search for that on YouTube, Korean learning podcast, find any of them and subscribe. Vloggers about any topic you're interested in, preferably someone who's not speaking with a script. If it sounds like they're narrating something, like they're narrating their life. Today, I met my friend at the market and then we went, that's not as good as someone who's simply speaking and doing something. They also have a lot of channels that have like natural Korean conversation too. That's the sort of stuff I would recommend. Not a drama. Dramas are going to be okay for listening practice if you're advanced. Billy, how well would you do in the TOPIK without studying for the test? Right now, if I took the TOPIK, 100% I would get over level 5. If I wanted to get level 6 though, I would probably need to review because some of the test questions are tricky. It'll be like, which of the following is not an appropriate answer for the item in the blank? And then for me, I'm not so good at taking tests. So for me, I'd have to practice that to make sure that I can get used to knowing like what types of questions they're going to ask me. But I mean, I'm sure I'd get at least 5 right away just because, the test isn't that hard. But to get a 5 or 6, typically you have to really prepare for it and know what the test is going to throw at you. Because I did some test preparation as part of tutoring with a student. So I was going through the questions together with them. And even though I can translate the passage perfectly, when we get to the question, the student I was tutoring was better at answering the questions than I was because I'm kind of just a poor test taker. I'll get tricked easily. I want like, hey, what's the answer to this? I can do that. But that's not what they'll do. It'll be like, which 2 of the 3 is the least likely to be the answer to go here? And my brain just doesn't handle that sort of stuff that well. I have to think about it longer. Be like, wait, well, this one, because of that, like I have to go back and think of everything. So yeah, it's more like preparing to take the test. Do you ever read Korean novels? I have a couple Korean novels on my bookshelf right now. I had read one of them before completely, not commonly. I'm actually, one of the things I want to do for next year is, in addition to my previous goal, which was some business books I had, which I was going through, I want to start getting some more books to add into my Korean studying for just my personal studies. So I'll probably do that a little bit next year. Maybe I'll have some recommendations to give. I'll have to find some nonfiction books though. I probably won't get into novels. I'm not a big fan of Korean novels that I've read snippets of so far. Idle variety stuff. Yeah, that's fine. Billy, as a beginner, do I learn vocab first or grammar first or both? You'll learn both as a beginner. Did you go to college or university in Korea? No. If you're able to, that would be great. But most people can't do that. Does Korea have collocations? What's that? Is that a word I should know? Collocations. Let's see. Ah. So that's something I would probably call like an idiomatic expression. Is that I didn't know that they had the language term for that. Yes and no. There are words that are like, oh, it's used. I'll just say no to your question. I kind of get what you're saying for like English. They don't have those things like that, like a word like take or make, and you have to learn all the different ways it can be used. Nah, there's nothing like that. They do have like idiomatic expressions as well, but I'd say they have more of a literal meaning. Like even something as simple as like 돈이 들다. Even like 들다. 들다 is like a verb that means take. So you think, oh, it has all these uses, but it literally always just means to take something, like something costs or takes away something. So like 힘이 들다 takes away your energy, it's difficult. 돈 들다 takes away your money, it's expensive. 시간 들다 takes time, it takes away your time. It's like it always has the same usage. So I would say no, even though those could be idiomatic expressions, they're not quite the same way we do them in English. Oh, and you're thinking strong coffee or hard coffee. Yeah, like those. Some. So the one that comes to mind right away would be in Korean, they say warm coffee, not hot coffee, if this is what you're talking about. So you actually say 따뜻한 커피, which is warm. You don't say 뜨거운. You could say 뜨거운 커피, but that literally means hot coffee. But if you're ordering it, you would order it as like warm, literally. Um, there are some things like that, but not quite like in English. It's not something that, I mean, the fact that I don't even know the word tells you it's not like a thing in Korean. Billy, what's your favorite K-drama? That would be Signal. Signal season 1. And in fact, they just finished filming Signal season 2, and then a big scandal came out in the news about the main actor. So I don't know if they're going to release season 2. Literally the main actor of Signal season 2. Signal 1 came out in, I believe, 2015 or something. And it was really cool. It's the movie Frequency that we had in the US, but it's a drama version of that, essentially, with a different story, but the same premise. Someone talks on a radio with a detective in the past to help solve the same mystery that's going on today. Like that. It's really cool. It's my favorite drama. Nothing like any other Korean dramas. Really, it's like so unique. Barely any romance plot, which is probably the main thing that makes it so unique. It also has it has character arcs, which is rare in Korean dramas. It has what's that? 교훈. It has like lessons in the episodes, which is also kind of rare in a lot of Korean dramas. Like you don't get some sort of like a moral lesson in a lot of the dramas. So it has those. It has character arcs. So the characters evolve kind of over time. It has very little romance. There's one episode that has anything to do with romance, but it's not even a big deal. It just kind of is more of a character episode. Very good. Really good ending. I won't spoil it. It's not what you're expecting, but it's good. It's like perfect ending. And yeah, they're making a season 2, which is not necessary, I think, but they filmed it and then a news scandal came out. I guess the actor was accused of what you can imagine. And they just had finished filming it. So it's like, are they going to release it? Kind of like a Kevin Spacey type of issue. Not the same. He didn't do the same things, but like kind of like that sort of issue where it's like, do you want to release it now? You can't really refilm it. He's literally the main character. So I don't know if they're going to scrap it or just release it anyway. But yeah, that would be my favorite one. 치다 seems like a verb well, it still means to kick. So you're talking about idiomatic expressions. They have idiomatic verbs in Korean too, but I don't think that's quite what you're talking about in English. But yeah, I highly recommend watching Signal. What platform is it on? I can't tell you because I don't know where it's streaming from. Many have low romance plots. What dramas are you talking about? Most of them have a big romance plot. Now, if you're talking about like crime dramas, usually it's in the background, but this one's really in the background. Like a best comparison would be something like Voice. Voice might be a drama that also you think, oh, it doesn't have a romance plot. It has romance stuff in it. And it just gets so cheesy. If you've seen Voice, it's so cheesy. I tried to enjoy it. It was like I was trying to get into it after Signal because I was looking for another drama. So I tried Signal. I tried a couple other ones. There's always like some annoying romance plot in it. The characters have no arches, so they don't go anywhere. Basically, it's the same character. You could like watch the last episode and the first episode, and it's the identical character. That's what I'm talking about with when you don't have a character arc. And you don't really think about that too much, but when it's there, it makes a big difference. For me, it's something I like. As well as lessons, like it's not the character saying, only you can prevent forest fires. It's not like that, but where you watch it and you think about it and you say, oh, the lesson is of this episode, it's trying to tell us is this. Like it has like a hidden meaning or a hidden message in it. And that's a feature of a lot of, actually probably most Western dramas and movies, Japanese as well. I also watched, not lately, but used to watch a ton of Japanese dramas. That was also a theme in Japanese dramas is if you watch the episodes, you can pick up that each of the episodes and the season as a whole will have themes to it where you're like, oh, the theme is, don't just discount someone because you don't like their appearance, or, just because you might not be that talented in this way, you can still help out in this way. They'd always have some sort of like, hidden theme. And a lot of Korean dramas don't really go for that kind of thing. So yeah, but Signal was a rare exception. And there are a few others also I thought were okay, but Signal was my favorite. The funny thing though is a lot of Korean people didn't like the ending of Signal because it does things differently than a lot of other Korean dramas. But I think it makes it even better. I think it really, because it matches with like some of the lessons that the episodes have. I thought it worked really good. Mask Girl, I watched it. I didn't like it, but I watched the entire thing. What I did like was the first couple episodes. I thought I really liked where they were going with it, and then it just fell apart. And then the third one, I'll just say the third one. If you watched it, you know what I mean when I say the third one. Everything from that story on, I feel like the character goes against everything that the character had built up until that point. It felt like a different show. Nothing against the actresses are great. All the especially the one actress, the old lady, fantastic. I wanted to know more about her, but I feel like for me it kind of fell apart after the first one. I was like, okay, the character changed too much that it felt like I was watching a different person, and it didn't have any sort of message to it, which is what I also didn't like. It felt like it was building up a message, which I could really feel in the first couple episodes. And then it fell apart. It's like, we don't need to teach a message in this story. And I think it kind of broke it because that was a nice fiber that could have kept the story together. So I could talk more about it if I spoiled it, but that's all I'll say is that I was very disappointed with it. And I wish it could have been a lot better if they followed with the story from the first person. Moving is on Netflix. I haven't seen that. I don't know what that is. Squid Game Season 1. I liked Squid Game, actually. I kind of enjoyed it. Squid Game 1 was enjoyable. Squid Game Season 2, if you don't think of Squid Game Season 2 and 3 as separate, if you put them together in one season, which it should have been, I thought it was good too. But separated in 2 seasons, I thought was a dumb idea. It just stretched it out. It didn't need that. Billy, do you still use Japanese? Only listening nowadays. I'll watch some shows and they'll be in Japanese and I can listen. No problem. And I have one friend who uses Japanese still. No, actually I have a few, but I don't meet them very often. But yeah, I have a couple friends who will use Japanese, but that's it. I don't really speak it. So not really. Just an example of not romance. Okay. Mask Girl was an emotional roller coaster. Yeah. If you like it, it's okay. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't what I wanted. Netflix US. Nice. Okay. Yeah. I highly recommend checking out Signal. You'll know the first episode if you'll like it or not. You don't have to like wait. It's not a slow burn. You'll know right away if it's for you or not. Typhoon Family. But then that seems like it's a slice of life drama, and I'm not into those. If I watch a drama, I don't have very much free time between, live streams, editing videos, filming, writing books, and making cheat sheets. All the stuff that I do for this is like everything I do is like for this channel. Besides that, when I'm finished with my work each day, I might have like an hour or two of free time where I'll go through any emails I haven't answered, fix anything that's like broken, or do any last minute things. If I watch like a TV show or something, it better be good. Like it really should be good, or else I just don't want to put the time into it. And I want something to take me away from my regular life for a short time while I'm watching it. So I'll like watching movies and stuff, but I want to see something that I'm not going to just see in my real life, like being in Korea or with my friends or anything. I want to see like something that's not too realistic. So I usually avoid most of like the slice of life types of dramas and stuff. Or like the types of dramas that are just like real life, scripted, but real life. So I don't watch reality shows. I'll watch, I might watch a drama that's like, what if this happened in this situation? Like crazy things. Okay. That's more my cup of tea. So I'm pretty picky. Game of Thrones. No, I didn't get into Game of Thrones because I didn't know about Game of Thrones for the first few seasons. And then I found out about it later and I thought, oh, this seems really interesting. Maybe I would like this. And then I was watching at that time. I think that was still when I was doing a lot of Japanese dramas. So I was still busy, but I figured, oh, someday I'll watch it. Maybe I'll wait till it finishes and then I'll watch it. And then I saw the reactions to the last season and I'm like, nope. So I never got into it. I don't know. I could have, but I didn't. I do like Lord of the Rings. I know it's not the same thing, but I do like that genre as well. Do you know why the Korean name for the drama extracurricular is 인간 수업? So human lesson might sound, I don't know, whoever translated it, they'll always try to translate it to have a similar feeling as what they want to that audience. And if you call something human lesson, to me, the first thing I think of is it's a romance drama. Like it'll teach you a human lesson about being a better person. It's kind of like what I get from the feeling of human lesson. Whereas 인간 수업 doesn't sound like that in Korean at all. So that's probably why they changed it. Extracurricular. Because it's like, it's a class for being human. But 인간 수업, you can't say extracurricular is like something special. Now it sounds like, oh, I'm learning something, but it's extra. It sounds a little bit more unique. I think it's a better title. I don't know what the best title would be, but that's just some insight into why they'll name things differently in English. Decoy says, ate my sundae-guk. I liked it. Kind of reminded me of something, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Kind of reminded you of maybe sundae. No. It's basically like, yeah, I'm trying to think what would it be like? It's just good. I like it. It's one of my favorites. But you won't see Pura demanding honorific language in reply. Oh, reply. Learning human. Lesson on human nature. Yeah, and then that sounds like it's going to be a romance drama. Is it? I don't think so. So that's probably why. They'll pick the name that they feel has a feeling similar to the original title, and that'll be completely different. Sometimes they name it something that's more unique. Like if you search the title in English on Google, if you literally translate it, you'll see maybe there's already something with that name, and they don't want that. They want something more unique. Most of the time, though, I think they don't do a good job. They'll pick something that's like really awkward or sounds strange, and yeah. Okay, I'll take just a couple more questions and then we'll stop for today. This was just I'm surprised. 77 of you are sticking around for this talk about Korean dramas and stuff. What's your favorite Korean drama? If you can only pick one. Mine is Signal. If I can pick two, I'll pick Signal and then I'll pick Squid Games, because I actually really liked Squid Games, not because of it being like a Hunger Games inspired show or whatever, but I just liked it because I think it did have good character arcs, And that's kind of what I'm drawn to, is characters more than just the story. I like the character arcs in it. I like the underlining morals that they teach. You know, not for like, I'm not watching it to learn something, but I like the message that they give for the episodes. I think it was really good. Season 2 and 3 are okay. Put together, I thought they're okay, but the first one I think is stronger. It's Kai. Hey, Kai. My name. Okay. Most dramas with Nam Gungmin. Hold on, I have to look that up because that name sounds a little familiar, but I can't think of the face. Oh, okay. I've seen him before, at least once. The price of confession. Wait, my name is Kai. Yeah, there are actually a few people named Kai in this chat. Right now, I think there are two, but there are a couple other Kais as well. Billy, have you watched? No, I've not. Like I said, I'm not someone who watches Korean dramas. Very rarely, extremely rarely, I'll watch a Korean drama. I have to I have to wait and see, do multiple people recommend it to me, and then I'll think about it, is how it works. And the reason I watch Signal is because one of my really good friends, who also shares similar taste as me in some things, specifically recommended I watch it. He's like, oh, you got to check this. Like, it's different than Korean dramas. Trust me. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, no, just watch the first episode. If you like it, I promise you're going to like it. So I watched it. And he was right. Otherwise, I don't watch stuff just because everyone will say, oh, you got to watch this drama. It's so cool. This drama is so popular. And it's just not for me. I'm sorry. My name. Okay. Lots of people said that drama as well. I like The Glory. You said that you like The Glory. I've heard about that as well. It's not for me. Made me so angry watching it. Props to the actors. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Crash Landing. Okay. That was a popular one for a lot of people with North Korea, right? Lots of people were interested in learning North Korean dialect from that video, from that show. Mr. Plankton. It hurt my feelings and it was funny and endearing. I also know a really popular one was the lawyer. What was the English title with the lawyer? The autistic lawyer. That one. Because I remember my grandmother telling me she liked it. I'm like, Grandma, you don't watch Korean shows. She's like, no, I like the drama. It was fun. That one also was popular several years ago. It was like Uyong or something like that. I can't remember the title of that. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Attorney Woo. Thank you. Attorney Woo. Extraordinary Attorney Woo. That's the title. My grandmother really liked that one. I didn't watch it. It wasn't for me again, but that was a popular one. What's wrong with Secretary Kim? Okay. Someone's recommending As You Stood By. It's okay to not be okay. Okay, I've heard of that one. Take Care, Bedberry. Super underrated. See? I like this. We're just kind of sharing drama recommendations. Grandma Billy watching dramas? No, so I can't, without doxing myself, I can't tell you too much, but I will say my grandma is very connected with movies. She's seen way more movies than anyone I know. And she just watches, typically it's like she likes documentaries, serious dramas. She doesn't watch like action movies or comedy movies, but she'll sometimes watch foreign films. She liked Parasite, first of all. So Parasite came out, she watched it and really liked it, as well as my mom. They both liked it. I'm like, okay, wow. Like, I didn't think they like it, but it was, because she doesn't usually watch movies with subtitles to begin with. She's 92. Yeah, she's 92. But then because of that, I guess she was like, what other things does Korea have? I guess. And someone had recommended her that show and she watched it and had told me, I really enjoyed the Extraordinary Attorney Woo show or something. And I'm like, what? Why are you watching Korean dramas? So, Hospital Playlist, okay. Lovely Runner. What would be a style of drama that you like? I don't have a style of drama I like. I have one drama I liked, and that was Signal. And I also liked Squid Game for different reasons. Like I said, I didn't like it for the same reasons everyone else liked it, because it was, violent and everything. I liked it for the character arcs, is what I enjoyed. Parasite won a lot of awards. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it that much, but it was a very good movie. Like, while I was watching it, I kept feeling like this movie's not for me, but it's so well made, but it's not for me. It's kind of what I felt like. But yeah, I thought that was really cool, though, that my mom liked it, my grandmother liked it. So many people enjoyed that movie, and I think it was like the first time a lot of people had heard about Korea, like Korea movies. Like, the idea that Korea was making movies, I think, wasn't even on most people's radar until after that movie. And then people suddenly started to say, well, Korea has this movie, I wonder what else they have. And then after that, a little bit after that was the year after that was Squid Game in October. So it's kind of like people were primed for Squid Game after Parasite first came out. It's like, I wonder what other movies Korea has, and I wonder what other shows they have. And then finding Squid Game, and then that went crazy, and that primed people for K-pop Demon Hunters. Now the word K-pop, everyone knows that, and so then when they see K-pop Demon Hunters, they can understand, oh, that's the Korean music, I wonder what that is, and start watching that. Business Proposal, lots of people like that show. Busaning, the zombie movie, again, wasn't for me, but I did like Ma Dong-seok's character. He's fun, he's always good. But yeah, I didn't care too much for the movie. I didn't think it was scary. I was hoping it would be scary, because I like scary movies, but zombies just don't scare me. So yeah, it wasn't bad though, just not my style. Parasite was the BTS of Korean media. A lot of webtoons and mana are turned into dramas. That's right, yeah. K-pop has been big in the West for a while too. Big? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say big. I would say recently it's been pretty big, but that didn't start until at least like 2019 ish. After that, I'd see BTS kind of was probably the biggest intro to K-pop for a lot of people. Before that, it was still more obscure. Like, it existed, Gangnam Style was huge, but that was it. It was just Gangnam Style, and then there's small groups of fans for the other groups here and there. I know Twice, Girls' Generation also had their thing, but it wasn't quite like a cultural phenomenon where like everyone knows what that is, sort of thing, until I'd say more recently. Like, yeah, after 2019 was when it kind of started more. Nowadays it's more commonplace, but it's more of a recent thing. Korea is finally having its popularity moment. Kind of, yeah. I like the tearjerkers. Hollywood is tanking, so now people are looking for good entertainment in other places. In some ways, yeah, a lot of that was COVID, but some of the COVID stuff just kind of became permanent. I think people realized, like, hey, why do I have to go to see this Hollywood movie? I can just watch, shorts on my phone or something like that. I think a lot of people's viewing habits changed during COVID. I wouldn't say it's tanked, but it is much lower than it was before. Shaun of the Dead. Okay. I saw that. It was funny. Psy sealed the whole moon. Yeah, he sealed it for quite a long time, actually. Over 10 years. I've been aware of K-pop since 2010. Okay. Yeah, it's been around. I mean, the very first K-pop to enter the US was a long time ago. It would have been like 2005 or something with Rain. Does anyone know Rain? That was probably the first like K-pop that broke into the US at all, was Rain. Long time ago. After that, the first one would be Girls' Generation. No, Girls' Generation was later. Wonder Girls also had a little bit of a break into the US in 2008, 2007, 2008. Wonder Girls, and then followed by Girls' Generation, early 2010, 2011. And they entered the US in a little bit, so much that like you'd hear some people say, oh, I heard that, but it wasn't like a thing. Psy was the first big one, but it was only Gangnam Style. That was it. After that, you would get nothing until Twice in 2015, 2015, 2016 was Twice a little bit, and that was quite popular as well. Nothing on the level of Gangnam Style, and then nothing again until I think 2019-ish with BTS. Yeah, that's kind of the general timeline. And once that happened around then, it was more of like a general thing. Like, okay, now it's broken into the West. Like now people are mostly aware of it. Not just like some groups, but like now generally people are aware of this thing called Korean music. Of course, Korea's had music for forever, but Wonder Girls with the song Nobody. No, it was actually the Tell Me song was bigger. Tell me, tell me, tell me. That was their big one. Nobody came after that and was also pretty big because they made versions of that in other languages as well. But I mean, there are other groups that also broke out into other countries, but not quite as big as that. Like, you know, Super Junior, you can say Super Junior, but they didn't really break out of Korea as much as Twice, Wonder Girls, Girls' Generation, like that in those years. YouTube has lots of podcasters talking about all the signs of Hollywood going the way of the dodo, which is great for media studios from other countries. Yeah, anyone can tell you that, oh, it's collapsing, it's gone. But then why do people still go see movies? Like Minecraft movie made like $1 billion in like a day or something, like, or week or something. Zootopia made that in less than a week. Like, people still want movies. It's just the type of movies that are the big budget ones are fewer. Like, it's not people going to see every single movie now. It's more like people going to see the few movies they really want to see. Like, I can guarantee you the next Spider-Man movie, the next Avengers movie are all going to make over $1 billion within like a week or two. So is the Hollywood model collapsing? No, it's just people are only going to go see in theaters the movies they think they need to see in theaters. And other movies that they're not that interested in, like, oh, it came out, I'm not sure, maybe I'll see it. They're going to wait until it goes on streaming because they know they just have to wait a few months. But if it's a movie they don't want to wait a month for or 2 months for, they're going to go see it in theaters still. So it's the type of viewing that has changed. But I don't think it's like, oh, they're all gone, no one wants to see movies anymore. Clearly, people do still want to see movies in theaters, but the model's changing. Rain was talking about fear of too many empty seats and low sales. Replay Shiny? Yeah, Shiny. That's right. Shiny's pretty big. Does shadowing really help your pronunciation? I forgot we're talking about Korean here because we went on tangents of dramas and food. Does shadowing help your pronunciation? Absolutely yes. Yes. While chained in Adobe's basement, they let you do shadowing there? That's more than I thought. I didn't know that they were feeding you even. I feel like the sound's so off American. Yeah. Okay, Kai, there's a more fun way you can do shadowing, and it's actually how I did shadowing when I was learning partially Korean, but mainly when I was doing Japanese. My shadowing method was listening to songs and singing at karaoke. Yeah, because when you do karaoke, you're not just shadowing the sentence, like you're forced to say that sentence out loud in an audible voice over and over again, exactly how that person said it. So I feel like singing could be a method of shadowing. I mean, it is shadowing, but it could be an effective method of shadowing if it's something you like. I do like singing. I'll go to the 노래방 at least once a week when I'm in Korea, usually just by myself. I don't have any friends who want to go to the karaoke room with me, or actually not just with me, but in general, I don't have too many friends who do that. But yeah, absolutely, it's effective. Now, however, it's most effective when you're doing singing for someone who has a voice that you are okay imitating. So if you're listening to males singing, but if you're female and you want to sound like Korean females, then that'll be less helpful for you, and vice versa. But yeah, definitely it's helpful. Yeah, Natalie, definitely. Okay, EK Kingdom says, I have a different POV. I'm not Korean, but I'm Asian. My aunt loves Super Junior. Okay. I've known about Super Junior since they were brand new. They've been around for a long time. Officially got into K-pop in 2019. Movie theaters are all going broke. Warner Brothers just saw, I thought I heard that. Is this brand new news? Because I remember hearing it got blocked. Unless there's another update about it. What would you say if someone does shadowing to your videos? My videos? Why would you shadow me? In my English? Actually, I do get frequently comments from Korean learners who are learning English saying that they watch my videos for practicing English. But no, I would shadow Koreans because no matter how good my Korean can get, or no matter how good anyone speaks Korean, it's never going to be 100% native. Like, because you're not born as a native, and even natives who move out of Korea for a few years lose their native soundingness a little bit. So no, I would definitely learn from a native Korean speaker for shadowing a native speaker living in Korea. You can learn Korean from anyone, but the shadowing part you want to do with natives. That's one of the reasons actually I make sure to have in my new podcast, if I have a guest that's Korean, we make sure to have them speaking Korean, and I'll have listening practice that's by a native Korean speaker as well, because I want to have the listener get plenty of opportunities to listen to real Korean sounds so that they can do shadowing if they want, or at least listening practice. Would you recommend immersion like podcasts and vlogs to an absolute beginner? Absolutely. I get 3 peanuts every live I join because they think... Okay, Kai, tell them that you got me to consider Adobe sponsorship from today. Just tell them that. Maybe they'll give you like an apple or a raw potato or something nice. Tell them that I'm considering it. I'll think about it. Really, this time. Billy, I bet you $20 on this. Hollywood's going to tank in the next 5 to 10 years. Nobody's getting consistent bottoms in theater chairs on a consistent basis. One-offs won't save old Hollywood. Yes and no. I don't think you're looking at it though long term. Like you're thinking currently, okay, look at it this way. You say, like, the way you're seeing it is the trends are going down, obviously. Fewer people are going to movie theaters. Yes, some movies are making tons of money, but consistently there aren't enough that are making enough money to keep most theaters in business. Some locations are closing because of that. They're not building too many new ones. Yes, cool. So if you look at a graph, you see, oh, it's going down. Eventually, they're going to have to close them all within 5 to 10 years. Okay, you're not wrong about that observation. The problem is that's not going to continue happening, because eventually what's going to happen is this. If the theaters started getting to a level where they realize, oh no, we can't operate anymore, like in general, like across the board, like just these big movies, you know, another Zootopia 7, we can't wait 2 years for that. And Avatar 85, like, yeah, it's going to make a lot of money when it comes out in 3 years. Oh yes, Spider-Man Goes to the Retirement Home is coming out next year, but we need something right now, this month. So the thing is, probably they're going to get approval for Netflix, likely, like what you're mentioning, to purchase one of the theaters. And that's going to do 2 things. One is, it's going to bring more people in the seats. I kind of hate to say, it's my opinion that I think more people would go to see movie tickets that are better priced and that you have more options all the time. So it might become more of a thing. It's like, hey, let's just go to the movies really quick. Go see that new, the new Netflix movie or whatever they're showing. It gives the Netflix and whatever streaming service owns them the ability to put their movies in theaters to qualify for awards, which they're currently left out of, like Oscars and stuff like that. And it also gives someone else taking on the debt of dealing with the times that they don't have people in seats and kind of working around, okay, well, how can we figure that out? How can we get more people to come to the theater? Because I think a lot of it is like, why would I want to go to the theater to see a movie when I can wait 1 month to just watch it on streaming, unless it's a movie I really want to see? The thing is, if I could just go see that movie right now early, and if it's good, and let's say the ticket's affordable and comfortable, I don't have to worry about, like paying $30 for a ticket or something, I think more people might go at a discounted rate. Maybe like Netflix does, oh, all of our subscribers can go to an actual movie in the theater, and you can do that 3 times per month free, like, one of those movie ticket plans included in your Netflix subscription. I don't know. I don't want to give them any like ideas, but I'm saying that there are going to be some changes that'll happen that will still keep it around, because there are enough people who do want to go see movies in theaters when there are those big movies that they want to see, that they're not going to just get rid of that opportunity to make that money. I mean, that's billions of dollars just sitting on the table. Someone's going to want it. Yeah, something like that. I saw a couple Apple TV movies in theaters I didn't know were on Apple TV movies. Like Napoleon, I saw the credits. I felt Napoleon, really. You need to do some dabs for the stream. Okay. Did it get greenlit? Okay, because I had heard that it was getting greenlit and then it got blocked. But I don't know if they got reapproved or something. Karaoke meetup. Should we do a karaoke meetup next summer when I do my next meetup in Korea, where we hang out at the park for like an hour like we normally do, you know, take some photos, I film a video, you know, all that. And then when I say bye, we all walk over, whoever wants to stick around, and we rent a noraebang, like a big noraebang that can hold up to like 20 people. And we do like singing, and I'll sing for everyone, pass the mic around, anyone else who wants to sing. What do you say? Sometime next year, June, who's for it? Who's gonna be there? Should we do that? Okay, I should probably stop the live stream. The funny thing is we've been talking now about everything except Korean for the past half hour, and not a single one of you has left. I appreciate it. I hope I do like spending time with everyone here. Okay, if Koreans are encouraging and telling you, "Oh, your Korean's so good," what are signs your Korean is actually good? Okay, the sign that your Korean is actually good will not come until your Korean is actually good. And when I say actually good, I don't mean your Korean's not good if it's not this level. But I mean when your Korean gets to the level where it is completely fluent, you will not get those types of compliments. Instead, it'll switch to here and there, they'll add in the conversation, "Oh, and your Korean is so good, so maybe what do you think about this?" Or, "Oh man, and by the way, your Korean is just so good. I can't believe we've been having a conversation in Korean." It's not going to be like, "Your Korean's so good. Wow, it's really good. I can't believe how good your Korean is." Like nonstop at the beginning of a conversation. That's more of the what Koreans would call pinmal, like empty words. Or just for being polite. And pinmal is probably not the best word. 인사치레 would be like something you're just saying to be polite. Pinmal literally means empty words. So it's not necessarily empty words. They do mean it. So I wouldn't say it's this. But 인사치레 is something you just say to be polite. Like it's just something you're just saying it to be polite. And the real big reaction, I mean like the real like, "Wow, I can't believe how good your Korean is," those reactions will come less. You'll get less of those. The better your Korean gets, you'll still hear people say, "Oh, your Korean's really good," but it'll be like really quick. It'll be like after you've asked the question, after they've answered the question, and then they'll say, "Oh, 와, 근데 한국말 진짜 잘하시는데요?" Like after you've already said something, not while you've just said your first thing, not while you're talking. It'll be in the conversation. And then they're like, "Oh, how'd you learn?" And you can tell them, "Oh, I learned like this." "Oh, okay." And then that's it. And then they go back to the rest of the conversation. So you get less of those reactions, the better you get. So when you have a conversation with when you start talking with someone and asking a question and they answer your question and you reply again, and you say thanks, goodbye, or you have a few words and then they tell you your Korean's good, that's the actually, "Wow, your Korean is incredibly good" compliment. But they're impressed from the very beginning. And if you watch my upcoming podcast, which will be uploaded on Christmas morning, it's exactly about this topic of what do Koreans think when you speak Korean, how to actually impress Koreans, what things do not impress Koreans as well. So yeah, you'll learn about that. So hopefully there should be some tips in there for you. Oh yeah, and Kai, you didn't see since you came in later. I got new markers now. They're refillable ones. They have liquid in them. And they're like really big and they should last more than like 1 week, like my other ones. Oh, hey, Tony Maybe. Thank you, Tony. I know we were talking a little bit before. Why is it Tony Maybe though? Aren't you sure what your name is? Just give a heads up for the dates. Probably it'll be sometime early June or mid-June at the latest. I can't tell you though right now because I don't have my ticket for Korea yet. Right now, Korean tickets are crazy high. It's like $1,400 for the cheapest ticket I can find from LA. And I have to wait and hope that they'll have some sale or it'll go down because that's just too much for a ticket. Like a cheap ticket to Korea, that's too much. Like a bad time and a weird leave, like a day you leave is like the perfect day and the day you come back is the perfect day and then it's that cheap. It's way too high for that. If your Korean teacher says, read the words, yeah, that's a bad teacher. Cherry blossom trip would be, yeah, like March or early April, usually like mid to late March or something like that. That would be great. I mean, yeah, feel free. Just if you are in Korea when I'm there, sometime probably in June, but I'll know in a few months. You plan to do a video analyzing your own Korean. My own Korean. I mean, I already analyze my own Korean all the time. I know where my weaknesses are, but a video about it? Would anyone want to watch? Like, oh, here's the stuff I really excel at. Here's the stuff I'm working on that I can get better at. Like that. I don't know. My mom says I have good pronunciation. Nice. If people keep speaking to you in Korean, you can have a little pride. Yeah. I think you're right. If someone is speaking to you in Korean, your Korean is good. That's your compliment. Telling you your Korean is really good, you're going to hear that from the very beginning. You could literally say like, 안녕, 하세요, and they'll be like, 와, 한국말 진짜 잘하시는데요? Like, you're going to hear the compliment no matter what you say. You could be like, 감사합니다. And they'll be like, 와, 한국말 잘하시네요. But the real compliment is that you are speaking with them in Korean, that you're having a conversation with them in Korean. That's the real compliment. Because they're going to be impressed from the get-go. Tony says, the other one was taken. There was a Tony and you're Tony Maybe. I don't think that'll hold up in court. They're going to say, Your Honor, I mean, I'm Tony. This is the fraud. Okay. I think it'd be fun. Your Korean friends roast your Korean would be funny. I could ask them, like they'll tell me, like if I ask my Korean friends, like, what do you think about my Korean? They'll tell me exactly, like, oh, I really like this, or this is really good. I'm like, well, how can I improve? And they'll be like, maybe if you used more like difficult idioms, you know, like everyone's going to say something different. I don't know. It could be a fun video, but I think it would be more fun if someone else were to grade me instead of me doing it to myself. I feel like you'd get a more unbiased video that way. 와, 한국인인 줄 알았어요. Yeah, Gazva. 와, 한국 사람인 줄 알았어요. I thought you were Korean. And then, no, but they would, if you say like, 감사합니다, and they say, wow, I thought you're Korean, the way they would have to say that would be, 한국 사람인 줄 알았어요. Then they speak exactly like you. That's the joke. I think Keanu reviewed your Korean at one point on a video. Oh, we did kind of. I did a video where I showed him, for the first time, clips that I had of myself speaking Korean in the past, back from as far as 2009, I think, was the first one. Yeah, I think it was like 2008 or 2009. And then I had clips from like 2010, 2012, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, like that. And I picked some random clips out from like 2016, 17, 18. I had picked some random clips to show him, and I had him react to it. And he's like, oh yeah, here you sound better. Oh, here you sound worse. And, you know, talking about what things were good, just to kind of a react for how my Korean has improved over the years. I think you're probably talking about that video. Speedy had tickets a year out to Korea at $9.94 for ticket. Yeah, it depends when you fly though. The times that I'm flying, I've already checked the dates that I can fly. The times and the location, there's nothing that cheap. Also, Um, oh, what is it? There's something else in there. But anyway, what is your weakness when it comes to Korean? I work on, let's see. Last time my goal was for business Korean because I'm lacking in certain business vocabulary that I'll see used. Like people will use it regularly, but they're more like fancy business or like financial words for some stuff. And I didn't really know a lot of those. So that was what I was focusing on before. Before that, it was hanja. So I learned a lot, not hanja writing and reading, but it was hanja idioms. So I learned a lot of those. I had 3 books of idioms I went through. So I got a bunch of those. Right now, I'd have to think about it a bit because that's what I want to work on. I think I'm going to be going for literary Korean is what I think I want to go next. Like more written style Korean, not just speaking. Because I feel like my understanding of speaking is like fine now. Like I can understand what anyone's saying, but I still want to improve. So how can you improve beyond just speaking and listening? Well, reading and writing would be the obvious choice. So I think I might try to go to polish my Korean for like the literary terms and stuff like that. But we'll see. Yeah, that'll be my goal for 2026. I think is going to be reading a little bit more because I typically read like grammar guides or like the dictionary reference or like stuff like that, but not, or like blogs, but not like regular books and stuff. So I feel like I'm lacking in that area as well. How long did it take you to understand Korean drama without subtitles? I mean, you have to be completely fluent to do that. So when did I get completely fluent in Korean? Several years. And that was after living in Korea as well. So yeah, it takes a long time. Korean dramas are extremely high goal because it's not natural Korean you'll hear on the streets every day. 감사합니다. Oh, you're writing English. Okay. Anyway, I think that's good for today. Thank you everyone for coming. I know we have Christmas coming up, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that fun stuff, or at least maybe the pagan tradition of decorating a Christmas tree, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. Thank you for spending your time with me today. And I'll see you again next Sunday. We're going to have an actual class, not a ramble. And this Thursday, there will be another fun podcast episode. So make sure to watch that. And yeah, that was fun today. Thank you. Also, I'll say another special thanks again to people who sponsored this episode or live stream or whatever this was. Mikey, Cyber Dragon, and Tommy, maybe. Make sure I don't miss anything. When's the next live stream? Will be on Sunday. Yes. So thank you, everyone, and happy holidays and all that. And I will see you again. And it'll be the last stream we have next Sunday, the last stream of 2025. 안녕! 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Oh, it's so cold out here.